Dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen, let me take the opportunity to welcome you to the Grand Inga Virtual Conference. This is a conference that we have convened to discuss the issues connected to the implementation of the Grand Inga project. The African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement that was initiated in March of 2018 and came into effect in March 2019 is a milestone on our continent. The trade deal is a flagship project of Africa's 2063 agenda. From independence to date, lack of infrastructure has constrained movement of trade and goods across the continent. The intra-African trade is the lowest globally, comparing to other parts of the world. But intra-African trade stands at only 15%, meaning that Africa trades more with the external world than with itself. And we are saying that this is something that can't be corrected. The major constraining factor which has inhibited intra-African trade is lack of infrastructure, which has made it difficult for goods to move from one country to the other country. That is the reason why the African Free Trade Area Agreement also focuses on development of infrastructure to facilitate trade. The objectives will not be realized unless we fast-track the development of infrastructure. And here we are talking about trans-African highways, the trans-African high-speed railway network, the open skies in Africa, which will enable air transport to move much more smoothly on the continent, and fiber optic connectivity across the continent. We, particularly here at this conference, want to focus on energy, which is, as you know, one of the major driving factors to growth and development. Most African countries are energy deficient, and this is what also inhibits development in those African countries. The cost of energy in some African countries is too expensive to access energy. This cannot be allowed to continue to exist because it makes Africa less competitive and scares away investors from the continent. We need to deal with this issue of energy head-on. And that's the reason why we have convened this conference to talk about the Grand Inga. Africa is the richest continent in as far as the raw materials are concerned. Africa is rich in minerals than any other continent on earth. Yet Africa is also the poorest in terms of living conditions of our people. This paradox needs to be corrected or reversed. We need to find a way in which we can add value to raw materials which are available in abundance on the continent by doing value addition before we export them as raw materials. And that's why we need to address the issue of energy, because we cannot do value addition without sufficient energy in the continent. And then the Grand Inga. Grand Inga presents an enormous opportunity for the continent. And it cannot be developed as a purely DRC, that is a project of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And that's why we need to get African countries to move in and develop this Inga as an African project. We need to get countries to come in through the regional power pools to tap into this. We have several power pools on the continent. the Southern African Power Pool, the East African Power Pool, the Northern Africa, the Maghreb, the West African Power Pool, and the Central Africa. So we need to address the issues of pool interconnectivity across the continent so that we can be able to transport the energy coming from the Inga to other parts of the continent. This will help to bring down the cost of energy in our continent. We are working together with His Excellency President Felix Tshisekedi, who was consistently committed to working with the African leaders to make the Grand Inga hydropower project a continental project. Our goal is to work closely with and support President Tshisekedi to achieve this ambitious and audacious goal. The DRC is shortly going to be celebrating its 60th anniversary. It will be a good vote of confidence in the DRC if at that occasion His Excellency President Felix Tshisekedi can announce to the nation that finally the Grand Inga is on its feet, is on the way to being implemented and make it a reality. We hope to bring together the best minds from Africa and the world to come up with the basic framework that will demonstrate that the Grand Inga project is a viable, green, and sustainable. Let me conclude by reiterating that Africa has a growing youth population. This young population can be an opportunity or a curse depending on how we provide opportunities for them. Creating opportunities for the youth is the biggest challenge this continent faces now and in the decades ahead. We need to create millions of jobs for the young generation, and the time is not on our side. The future is moving towards Africa. But for Africa to accommodate the future and create opportunities, we will have to do more than exporting raw materials and venture into value addition and manufacturing. To achieve this, we must have adequate power. Inga is the answer. And I therefore want to take opportunity to wish all of you a very, very fruitful deliberation during this Grand Inga conference. Thank you. God bless you.